If there's one thing that stands true in life, it's that sometimes there's moments that come unexpectedly and cause a readjustment. You might not understand in the moment why it's happening, but usually you'll eventually see the reason. This is why it's so critical to trust the process and make the necessary changes as you are faced with them. Well, I'm back, at least sort of doing an audio recording. Can't do a video recording right now for various reasons. Not getting into that. Last episode was on March 22nd. I've had a ton of things happen, so many new things, so many readjustments, and that's kind of why I'm going to talk about this topic. So, one of the biggest things I was hit with recently is I had some major food hiccups. I was eating a banana daily as part of my meal plan, and then suddenly realized I wasn't feeling so well. And then I suddenly realized that it was the bananas that was causing the problem. And then that led to other issues. I noticed that chocolate was causing an issue and some other foods were causing issues. My body was everywhere. And now, after doing some research, I have realized that apparently I have a histamine intolerance. And so I've been doing a low histamine diet. Let me tell you, that cut out a lot of things. It's not been fun. However, I will choose feeling better over food any day. The good part about this is I've actually been able to lower my blood pressure medications. My biggest goal, of course, is to get off of those crazy things. And I still have weight loss goals, but the most important thing for me is my health and how I feel and allowing my body to heal from the inside out. I've gone through a lot of things that have caused so much havoc in my body that it doesn't really surprise me that I'm at this point of where I have to work on these things as well. I'm just thankful that, several years back, I took the time to not have an emotional attachment to food. And I think that's everyone's biggest struggle when they're wanting to make changes in their nutrition is so much of their life and the way they think and the way they function and the way that they cope, it's all wrapped up in food, and it's dangerous. You can kill your body that way, and I'm not saying this just to rag on people who eat food. Like, eat what you want. Like, that's all up to you. But I know that if you're somebody who struggles with your health or you're struggling with these issues, you can't figure out why it is you feel so bad. I can almost guarantee that it's your nutrition, and it's not easy to give things up. And one of the things that I've had to give up, actually, let's go back to two things that I've had to give up is coffee and chocolate. So, yeah, that's not fun. And there's not really too many substitutes for those two. I may eventually be able to go back to decaf coffee, but um, it is what it is. Like, I like the taste of coffee. I could take or leave the caffeine now because honestly, just in the short week and a half to 2 weeks that I've been following this eating plan, I actually have a clearer head and I'm able to focus and think. So it's interesting what changing your food will do for your body. I wasn't sure what was going on when it was happening. To explain some of the severity of it, I ended up with a couple of nosebleeds and some severe migraines. Emergency room trip to tell me that I had migraine syndrome, and I'm like, nope, we're not going to accept that answer because I truly believed that that was a symptom of what was happening, and I was accurate about that. So went down the rabbit hole of research and found my answer, and it's been great. Let's keep it up, hopefully, for a while. And as I, heal, I may be able to add some things back in. And trust me, the list of food is very limited, but I'm satisfied because my food is my fuel, and I don't need to eat it in order to, cope with emotions or to, entertain myself or things like that. So as much as I enjoy food and I love lots and lots of flavors and trying new foods, right now in this point in my life, I've had to accept the fact that I just don't get to do that. It's quite the adjustment, but I will survive. just like I do everything else. And that kind of comes to my point that sometimes we get hit with unexpected things that we do have to make the changes. We have to decide, do we want to stay where we are and be miserable, or do we want to make the changes that it takes to do it? You can complain on either direction, but the complaints don't get you anywhere. And I think the willingness to trust the process and to make the changes and to move forward is very critical. And you'll find yourself in that position in several areas of your life. It's not something that just happens with your health, that can happen with career, that can happen with relationships. And you have to decide if you want to sit where you've always been or if you want to finally move forward in a different direction. I personally prefer to choose feeling better, or prefer to choose moving forward, or prefer to choose making changes and adjustments, because I don't like staying where I'm at. I like growing. I like knowing that the next step's going to take me somewhere closer to where I'm a better person, that there's something in me moving up and changing and growing, and I despise being set in that stagnant place where everything's the same all the time. Yes, there's aspects of our life that we carry along with us that should remain solid and consistent and not change, but there's always an aspect of life that changes, and so we need to be changing with those things. And I think that's where people struggle mentally, is they don't know how to move with the flow and how to change and accept the fact that life is ever moving. It's always going to be moving. No matter what you do, you can stand still if you want, but everything around you and even in your own life is always going to be moving. So you can decide either to move with it and make the adjustments, or you can just stand still and give up and just live in your little bubble. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I have this thing that I like to say is no complaint clause. If you choose to stay where you're at, you're not allowed to complain where you're at. It's up to you. You can either make the changes you need to make, or you just, sit there. But don't walk around and make everybody else miserable by complaining about everything that isn't going the way you want it to go. All of us have times where we're frustrated with where things are at the moment. And you can kind of give in to that, oh, well, this is as good as it's going to get. I always have these issues. Or maybe, just maybe, do something different and not be afraid to do something different, and not be afraid to believe that it can be different. Like, I used to sit in that same mindset too. Like, I was blaming everybody around me, like, oh, it's everyone else's fault that I'm here. It's all these people that did this or didn't do that and put me in this position, or I just can't get past this. And as I began to grow and pouring self into me, that allowed my mind to expand, that allowed my spirituality to expand, it brought me to a place to where, oh, okay, I can actually believe in these things. I can actually believe that things will change. And sometimes that simple hope and belief, knowing, yes, I'm going to change this situation. Yes, this situation's going to change. And then standing there with your hands open and your eyes open and waiting and watching for those moments that come forward that allow you to step into them so things start to change. Problem is people turn their back, they close their eyes, they don't want to pay attention because they're not believing that anything could be any better. And I can't live in that mindset anymore, and neither should you. You shouldn't live in the mindset that nothing's going to be any better and you're just going to, this is the way it's going to be. And then you can choose to make adjustments and change how you spend your time, the things that you pour your energy into, the people that you spend time with. I see people all the time that are just wasting their energy trying to be around people that just are not good for them. Like, you're better to be isolated with a few good friends and focus on yourself and make those moves that you need to make to get to where you're going. And I know everybody hears this all the time, but I'm just me. I'm just little old me. I'm not anybody fancy, but I've seen the results of doing these things in my life. And there have been times that honestly I wanted to quit. Like, I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this not changing? And you go through that. Sometimes you'll still question it, even in the fight and even in the journey. You're like, ugh, is this ever going to get any better? It will get better, one step at a time. It's not going to be this magical big boom overnight, although sometimes you feel like that. when things start to move, and be like, oh, wow, this is really hitting. But don't forget all of the things that you went through to get there. Every person that you see that started in one place and then now they're in this really successful area for their life and their success, it didn't happen overnight. Even though from your viewpoint from the outside it looks like it did, but it honestly didn't. And you also don't see the things that they're still doing inside their life to keep the things going, to make the adjustments and the changes to where they want to be. And the biggest thing through this journey is to always, always focus on peace and joy. Don't don't give your joy up. Don't give your peace up. And by all means, love is the best motivator. And I'm not talking about romantic love necessarily. I'm talking about being the evidence of love, being love yourself. Give it and watch it pour back to you. You have to be able to give it, to receive it. Everything that you put out will come back. And I know that maybe you've had a time in your life or in a place in your life right now where you feel like you're giving to everybody, but nothing's coming back to you. I know that feeling all too well. But if you are made to be a giver, you will get back what you give. And you will be able to do it. But you have to sit in a place that you're kind of, I guess the way I would say it is you're surrendered to it. You're willing to pour into others without expecting anything in return. And not many people will tell you that. They'll like, well, that's crazy. You should never do anything for somebody that won't do anything back for you. But what's the point? Love is not based on what somebody else does for you. Not at all. Love is about being in service to others and to show empathy and care and concern and lift other people up and not have expectations on that individual. However, let me make this clear. I am a huge believer in boundaries, and I preach boundaries all day long. You can still love someone and pour into someone and provide for them or give them encouragement or support them in different ways, but you can still have boundaries. Your boundaries is how you decide you're going to pour into that person. But not only that, you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself as well. Because if you're not taking care of you, you really honestly can't do for others in the same way. And that, it kind of sounds weird, coming into, any Christians that might be listening to this, that, Christianity will say, well, Jesus gave and, he didn't give back to himself, but he did though. Because how many times do the scriptures say that he, went out on his own to rest and to pray? That was his way of getting the space that he needed to renew himself. And so all of us have to do that. We're not robots. We are still human. And so in order to move forward with anything in life and to give to others and to give to ourselves and move through this life in the unexpected moments, we have to be able to step back and take the time for ourselves and see to our health and our mindset and all of those things. And so many people don't do that. You get bogged down by the chaos and the clutter. How many people are listening to this right now that would sit there and say, oh, I don't spend much time watching TV or I don't spend much time on social media? Majority of you probably don't. And if that's the case, if you do isolate yourself away from those things, then good for you. And I'm not shaming anyone who chooses those things as entertainment. I just know what they do when you're in a mindset of struggle. Television and social media are not going to fix it, are not going to help you dig out of that hole and that struggle that you're in. Find ways to clear the clutter out of your mind. Find ways to give yourself some peace and rest and relaxation. Learn something new. That's huge. No matter what it is, it could be something silly. Just learn something new. Shoot, go back to childhood and think about the things that you used to love as a child. Start doing them again. All of those things are weird to say, but they actually work. I know this is what I was doing for a while. I went through going back and started coloring again, that's something that helped me for a while. I don't do that much now because I'm crazy busy. But if I decided I was in a place where I just needed a brain break that was just thoughtless activity, I might do that. But if you find yourself spending all your time in front of a screen and you're just letting all of this junk, because a lot of it is junk, pour into your mind, you're not accomplishing anything. And I can't tell you how many people that I've heard say, "Oh, well, I don't have time for such and such." Well, I just don't have time to do those things. Well, yeah, you do. You'll find a way. If it's something that you want to do, you'll find a way. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just don't do it. And it's going back to what I just said a minute ago. You can't complain anymore. You get to choose what you do with the 24 hours that you have. 7 days a week. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to use that time to work on you and work towards those things that you actually want? Or are you going to spend that time complaining and just staring at the screen? I mean, that's the blunt version of it, but it's the truth. And when you find yourself faced with those unexpected moments, you can fall apart and go, oh my goodness, what I'm going to do, or you can start looking for the solution. The more time you spend complaining about the problem, the less time you have coming up with a solution that will actually get you through it. And I could preach this all day long, and I've probably said this in the other episodes, most likely that I've done, but I'm surrounded by people who just stay stuck, or they come across a new health issue and they just don't know what they're going to do. Make a change? It's simple as that. Changes are never easy, but if you don't make the change, nothing's going to. And I can have empathy for anyone who struggles with anything that they're faced with, and anybody that comes across a situation where they just don't feel like they have the answer. But it's in that moment that you just keep looking for it. Don't stop looking, because your answer will come. And a lot of people who stop, they're like right at the verge of the exact thing they were looking for, but because they gave up, they never reached it. It's not always about the answer as much as it is the journey and the grit to keep going. And the moment that you give up, that's it. There's no more. You can take a break and take a rest because we all need them. And those are good. Like I rest. Like I take moments not to focus on the things that I need to adjust, or the places that I'm going, and I just step back and just stay in the moment. And I try to do that daily now. Like it used to be something that I only did, every once in a while, quit grinding and hustling and just took a break. But this is a little bit more detailed than that. This is about staying in the moment each day. So yes, you know where you would like to go, but what's right in front of you right now? Okay, what change can we make right now? What small step can we take right now? And as somebody who struggles with the big picture, like I know from the beginning to the end, and I see the big picture and I know where I want to go, and all these little nuances in between that I got to do this and I got to do that. The problem is when I get caught up into everything that needs to be done, it paralyzes me. And this is what happens with a lot of people, is the thinking about everything that's got to happen to get to that end point, they get paralyzed and they don't know how to move forward. And continually redirecting yourself. Nope, I'm going to stay right here in this moment. This is what's right in front of me right now. What can I do first? Okay, that's done. All right, what's next? And then move on to the next thing. Just like making this changes and adjustments for all of my food, like I almost panicked a little bit. To tell you the truth, yeah, it was a little bit scary. However, because I've made a lot of adjustments over the years with my diet, because I've noticed things that change that my body needs done differently, I'm like, okay, I got this. What do I need to do? So I figured out, okay, my list of foods that I'm allowed to eat. And that's what I started shopping for, and turning my mindset into the food that I'm putting inside of my body is to heal it and to give it fuel so that I can continue to move forward with my goals. Plain and simple. I didn't start going, oh man, I can't believe I have to give up all this, all these different flavors, seasonings. I can't believe that I have to give up chocolate. I can't believe I have to give up ice cream. I can't believe that I have to give up this or give up that. And I can't put all these wonderfully tasting meals together because I absolutely love to cook. I didn't do that. I chose to go, okay, what do I need to do? And then that's what I did. I've been taking it one moment at a time. And as I've gone on, I've made adjustments, little changes here and there because I've discovered new things that are bothering me. And I just do what I have to do. I didn't want it to make me miserable. I have so many good things going right now, and I could have got so caught up in that change that I literally would have sent myself downhill. I felt sick for a few weeks for sure, and it was really hard to keep pushing through while I was physically feeling ill, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But I didn't get caught up in the problem. I'm like, we're going to find the solution. And that's what I've done, and you have to apply that in every aspect of your life. When you let one little thing drag you down, everything else comes with it. Next thing you know, you're having to build it all back up again. So what if you don't have the amount of money you want right now? Yes, money sucks and there's financial struggles suck. I get it. More than you know. But you can either sit around and complain about what you don't have, or you start making better decisions with what you do have. And if you don't have a way to do that, and maybe you've already budgeted and rebudgeted everything, then start looking for a way to add income. Because there's always an answer. I promise there is always an answer. It's all about what you want to pour into. It's all about what time you want to give of yourself to that thing. And the excuses are not enough anymore. And I'm saying this because I love anyone who's listening to this. I say this out of love. Please know that. I say it because I want to see people rise up. I want to see people succeed where they want to succeed in their life. And it breaks my heart to sit back and watch people who get stuck when I can see the way out for them, but I can't pull them out. I can't pull you out. All I can do is try to give you some encouragement and for you to hear these words and be like, she's right. I can do this. I don't have any excuses. And some people will just never grab a hold of that, and that's okay. I'm not here to judge anyone in their situation. I just know where I've come from, where I'm at right now, and where I'm going. I don't have all the answers to everything that's ahead, but I know I'm going somewhere. I know because I've been fighting to move forward for a long time. And the minute, and I kid you not, the minute I started making small changes, they've all stacked on each other, and it's helped me climb. And it's one step at a time, and not giving up hope and always holding on to hope. Because if you let go of that, there is nothing left. And it's worth holding on to. It doesn't matter what is going on around you, right next to you, or what's going on around the world. None of that matters. What matters is what you yourself are doing, how you are taking care of you, how are you taking care of the people that you love. Focus on that and focus on those daily actions that you can take. Make those small changes. And if you don't know where to even get started, seek help. There's people out there that would gladly give you some direction on which way to go. But most of all, and I will talk for myself, sitting down and having a conversation with God goes a long way. And getting that direction goes a long way. And sometimes He'll send you direction through other people as well. But look for your path. Look for what you need to be doing rather than having your eyes closed and being tied down and buried underneath the weight of the problem. Because you can choose to throw that weight off. And a lot of people don't believe you can, but you can. It's about your mind. It's about the way you think about it. It's the way you choose to see it. You can choose to live on the if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all, which I hear people say. No, if you're saying that, you're choosing it because you're choosing not to move towards something else. You just assume everything's bad and you're not going to have anything good. I know homeless people that have done videos that have the best mindset of some that I've ever met, but they don't have a roof over their head. So the difference is always your viewpoint and your mindset. Change your heart, change your mind, your life will change. Change your daily habits, all of those things. Anybody who's gone through the process of, let's say, weight loss, you couldn't lose the weight just by thinking about it or by complaining about it. You actually had to get up and start taking action towards that. You had to start making changes. That's just one example. If you've never done anything like that in your life, find something small in your life right now that okay, this is what I want to change. I want to, let's say, have the habit of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and having some meditation time outside as the sun rises. Just make that one change. Start there and watch what begins to happen as you develop a new habit. New things begin to come into your life. Being focused on the problems and the complaints, you're actually closed off to receiving anything new. It's impossible for new things to come through because you're closed off to it, because you don't honestly believe that anything better can happen. So much of the things, new things that come into a person's life has to do with whether they believe that they will or not. And I never used to think that, but having practiced that now for several years, I see it and I know the results of it. And it actually does make a difference. So when you are faced with those things, go ahead and, you know, flip the script a little bit. Like, wait a minute, I'm not going to react to this in a bad way. I'm going to start looking for a solution. Hold on. Talk to yourself that way too. Say, hold on. No, we're not going to get caught up in the craziness of this and the negativity of it. I'm going to find the good. I'm going to wait for the answer that reveals to me why this is happening, and I'm going to make the changes that I need to make, and I'm going to find the solution. Do that with each one that pops up and watch what happens. And I know I've rambled, and I hopefully that somebody got something out of this. It's a little bit, rocky for the first, podcast episode back after so long, but I wanted to get started with this again, and hopefully as I navigate coming back into this with all the other things that I have going on, I will eventually get video going again as well, because I feel like I can connect with everybody better that way. In the meantime, make sure you go to the website sipthatcoffee.com, and you can find my personal information there to follow me. I do a lot more posts and things on my personal account that doesn't always hit the podcast pages. But looking forward to hearing from anyone who, made it through this episode. It was good to be back, and I will hopefully have something next week as well. Take care.